Hi, this is Al from elbowpepper.com, and today I'm going to do an unboxing video of an LED grow light. First I want to show you the one that it's replacing, a GrowUFO that I've had for less than a full 2 years, and already some of the diodes on it have burned out. So I'm hoping that I get better results from this one that just came in the mail today. It's been almost 2 years, and look at what has happened with it. And this is my second LED grow light that I've purchased. The previous one didn't get me 2 years. Now it's the same situation with this one, where some of those light diodes are no longer emitting any light. Interestingly, the manufacturer, they don't even exist anymore. There's a different company that took over their domain name, and it's not even marketed under that name anymore. But I looked on the box and it only had a 1-year warranty on it in the first place. So they may tell you that these can last for 50,000 hours, and you do the math and you think, okay, yeah, that's a long time. I'll get years out of this. Even if an LED might last that long, that doesn't mean that all the electronics that make it light up are going to last that long. It's something to keep in mind when you're looking about switching and investing in LED lights. With my existing LED grow light starting to break down, I know it's time to replace it and to have something ready for the next season. I've had decent success using LEDs, although I'm not happy with how long they last. But I saw on Amazon there was a new company that had a similar type of a setup, but an LED light that was 180 watts, you know, double the wattage of this other one according to the model number. I thought, that sounds pretty good. Even less money and yet more output. So let's look and actually see what you get. I ordered this from Amazon.com, and you can see it has tape saying fragile, so hopefully it was handled in such a manner. But the company is Apollo, and this is the extent of the manual that I'm seeing thus far. As far as the product specs on this, it's a 180 watts LED grow light, and yet it says the actual power draw is a 109 watt. So there's the power and then there's the actual power, and there's quite a difference between 180 and 109. As far as light spectrum goes, there are multiple bands of light that this covers to get like a nice full spectrum output, and I'm hoping that we get some good results with this. But let's dig into this more, see how this is set up. There you have your basic power cable, and here's the light. So it's another one of those UFO designs, this round shape. And there are all the diodes. Let me show you. Right there. On the back we have some brackets for hanging this. And here are the actual hanging wires. So these clip in place like this, and then they all hang on this guy right here, which you can attach to something and clip as well. So how does that light look when you turn it on and everything? Let's hook it up and see what kind of light it throws. Here is a side-by-side comparison. This white one is the one that I've been using for the last 2 years. And then of course here's my new one. 60 times 3 watts, 45 times 2 watts, this white one. That's the difference. And this has a broader range of color spectrum as far as more types of colors in the LEDs. supposedly, you know, that's going to give you even better results in growing your plants. While focusing on the areas in the photosynthesis spectrum where you get the most activity and the most reactivity to certain wavelengths of sunlight. They're very similar in design, although one nice thing with this one that I had been using, it also had a pass-through, so you could actually plug in a device here and power it, which it all ran through one cord. And so this is a feature that was on this device that is not on my new one. And that's something I'll have to take into consideration for my new setup. But as far as the sound, you do have a fan that's running, trying to cool these all the time, and you do hear that. So don't think you can put it in your bedroom without finding a little bit of some disturbance from that noise. If you have it in an area that you don't live all the time, it's not a problem. I don't find it to be too irritating or anything myself. Here's my old grow light. It was rated as a 90-watt LED grow light. And then of course here's my new one. And when you look at the specs on it, in the description and in the model, it's actually called a 180-watt grow light. Now this has your 45 2-watt LEDs, and this one has 63-watt. So it should put out probably around twice as much light, and that is to say this new one as opposed to the old one. But what I've done is I've hooked this up, and this power cable is connected to a battery backup that I can push a button here and get a readout on the actual wattages that are being drawn off of this unit. I want to test the wattage that's being consumed. Now this is marketed as a 90-watt light, so when I turn it on, what kind of consumption am I getting? Looks like it's leveling out at around 82, 83 watts, 84 watts. So that's how much electricity is actually used to run this. And it's sold and marketed as a 90-watt light. So it's using just a tad bit less than what you think it's going to use. Now, on the other hand, let's check out this new light. Plug right into here. Let's flip this switch. Now let's see what we're getting. Right around 106 watts. So the actual power draw, or the power consumption of my new light, which is supposedly a 180-watt light, is only 20 watts more than this one, which is supposedly a 90-watt light. That's a huge difference. 180 and it's using 106. 90 and it's using 86. What's that about? Keep in mind that when you buy this, you're not getting twice as much light. If it's only consuming 106 watts, there's no way that it's capable of outputting double the amount of light. Even with a more efficient LED setup, it's just not going to be emitting twice as much luminescence as this older model. So I think that that's some sort of a deceptive marketing method, even though I don't feel like I've been ripped off, because when you do read the specs, it says actual consumption is 109, I believe, and that's right about what it's using. So I knew full well what I was getting, but still, you have to keep in mind, I mean, yeah, this is putting out a lot of light, but it's not going to be putting out twice as much light as this other one that was rated at half the wattage. So it's using like a different system for trying to claim how much light you're going to get out of it. Here are the hanging cables. The bottom cables are the ones that were provided for my Apollo light. I actually, with my application, have very little room. It's a tight space, and the longer cables mean that my light hangs down lower than I want. But while I'm showing you that, I also want to show you this. In regards to the way that the cables are fastened on my older light, see how nice and clean the metal wire is clamped over, kind of crimped in place. You don't have any metal wires protruding out, but that can't be said for this new setup. Just look here at the ones that I got today. There are just chunks of wire that are sticking out. I mean, look at that. Those will just jab you. If you do handle these, be careful. I'm going to be switching out the cables using my old ones from my old light and just completely replacing these with those old ones. For this reason, and because I want to keep my light as far up as I can get it. The Apollo Horticulture Grow Light is a no bells, no whistles, basic LED grow light. You just have these clips that hang this, allowing gravity to keep it level. You have a fan here, you have your power, and that's it. Very simple design, nothing too fancy, but hopefully it's one of those things that gets the job done, and doing so at a better price because of the fact that you don't put as much into production. I got this for $110 off of Amazon.com, which I think is really a good value for what it's supposed to do. I'm going to hook it up. Let's take a look and see how the light looks once it's actually in place. This is where I've been growing my seedlings for years now. A repurposed shower stall. We never used it, and then when I started to get into gardening, I realized that this is the perfect spot to be able to put in some seedlings. So this is my new platform upon which all of the LED seedlings can be grown, and as you can see, there it is, nice and bright, the new light. To avoid blinding myself, I have this piece of aluminum foil, that way it's not really shining so much into your eyes. I'll just pull that away so you can see here, get a better view of what we're looking at. There it is. I have some cross supports up here that it hangs down from, and I do use supplemental lighting with these CFLs 6500K, but right now, as you can see, those are not on. The brightness and everything that we're getting is just purely from that LED light itself. And I have aluminum foil around the sides because this is highly reflective, so you don't have as much wasted light. But more than that, it also creates some side lighting because the LED light is very linear in nature. It doesn't really spread out, but it comes more straight down, maybe a little bit of an angle, but not like you would get with other light sources. By doing anything you can to help with side lighting, you get a more natural looking growth with your plants. So this is where, for the new growing season, I'll start a lot of my seedlings. I'm going to be later on doing a side-by-side comparison between this light without anything to supplement it and a T5 grow light system, a fluorescent lighting system. And what's pretty cool is there's no stray light to throw off your results. I don't have any type of ambient sunlight. Whatever I get is purely artificial. So I think it'll be a great setup to do some tests. As far as this light itself, I'm pretty satisfied with what I got, but you just need to keep in mind what you're really getting. The wattage that is associated with this of 180 watt, that I really don't think is good for side-by-side comparisons with other LED systems, because it doesn't consume anywhere near that. So keep that in mind. But when you look at the price point, I mean, for the amount of light that you do get and the price that you have to pay, it's just really a great value. So the only thing that I can foresee to keep an eye on is longevity. How long is this light going to last? Am I going to actually have an LED system that finally can break the 2-year mark? Well, it's going to take a couple years to find out, but I'm excited to try and see. And regardless, I know that the investment I made is now less money than any of the other systems that I've tried before, and I am going to be getting more light output. So I think that it's a good value, and I do recommend, from what I've seen so far, that you give it a shot if you're looking to try something like this out, just because you're not out a whole bunch of money if you do have a problem. And this does have a 2-year warranty, which is better than some of the other systems. So whether or not the company is going to be around in 2 years, once again, we have to wait and see. But that's my basic unboxing and some initial reviewing of this light system. Maybe this has helped you out, given you some things to look at. Share your thoughts, what you think about this, and I look forward to doing some comparisons in the future. But until then, thanks for checking out this video.